On the Timelog tab in Setup, we have the ability to specify that when creating a Timelog entry, that we want to prompt the user to specify what task number they're linking to this Timelog, or specify what job number they're linking to this actual Timelog. So note, if a task is linked to a job, then the job number will automatically be entered as well on the time entry. The next option allows you to default what category to use on every Timelog created. You can also edit these on the Timelog itself. The next option is that on creating a Timelog, to auto enter the current time. So this just makes it easier so that on every creation of a time entry, the user doesn't have to put in the current time. Then the next option is to auto enter the finish time on a previous Timelog when creating a time entry. So let's say the user has an open Timelog and they go to create a new one, then it actually finishes off the previous Timelog by setting the finish time on that automatically. So this can be useful. The next section is to do a Timelog warning related. So the first option here is to check user is assigned to an employee type. Now, when setting up each employee in the system, you can specify the employee type for each person. And the use of this is that on every Timelog entry, it records their employee type. Because in the job screen, you can create budgets based on employee type at the job level. So this is important to some companies that need to make sure that every Timelog entry is linked to an employee type so that the correct budget is reduced on a job based on the employee type linked to the job number from the Timelog entry. So the next option is that on duplicating a Timelog, confirm if no charge. Now what that means is, if we go back and have a look at the Timelog entry screen on the home screen, the quick view screen, so let's say we've got a Timelog in here, create a new one. First of all, I need to specify who I am. And if we create a quick Timelog, and we can specify, we link it to a certain job, and we can say that it's not billable, and we'll put a finish time of 17. So the next option is that, well actually let's just put that to 16, and we'll set this to the current time, and we put in some comments. Now if we go back to the quick view screen, this option is that when you duplicate a job, it's going to prompt you, because we're specifying in setup to do so, that should the new duplicated job be set to build or not. And the reason is that on the job itself that's linked to this Timelog, it's set to bill the Timelogs that are created. But we unclicked this one here, so it's now questioning, do you want to actually set the next duplicated one to be billed or not? So we'll say yes, and it'll set that to be billed. So if we go back into setup and into Timelog, so the next option is to display the job task time related warnings. Now what this means is that as users are entering in Timelogs relating to jobs or tasks, if the budget has run out for a specific job or a specific task, well then the user will get a warning saying that job number X is already over the budget of a certain amount of hours, and they'll know then if they need to deal with that. And the same with tasks as well, where you can specify at the task level to warn the Timelog user X amount of time before a task budget has been used up with the Timelogs. Okay, so the next option is warn if no comment exists on a Timelog. So this is where if a user doesn't enter in any comments on a Timelog, it'll then display on the Timelog screen. If we go back into Timelog, it can display then if they create a new record, and you can see here that it highlights in red because there's no comments entered on this previous Timelog that has now been treated as a complete Timelog. So if we hover over the warning checkbox, it'll give you a tooltip of why it's giving a warning. And in this case, it's saying the comments have not been entered for this time log, but subsequent time logs have been created for the same day. Now, these types of warnings you can get for various different types. So, for example, if the budget is over on a specific job or a specific task, well, then hovering over the warning will actually tell you why it's showing you that there's a warning on the time log screen. So back into setup. The next option here is related to task related only, where it says warn time log user, yes, but also email the contact. So for any warnings that are related to time logs, again, usually because the budget has been used up on a task, then it'll warn the user when they go and create another time log, or when they put in the time on a time log that's linked to a task that now needs to warn the user. But you can also specify to also email a specific contact as well. So like an administrator or somebody that's in charge of jobs and tasks and monitoring that they don't go over their time, well, then they'll get an email giving them a warning that a certain task has actually gone over on time. Now, the same ability is given at a job level, where you can specify at the job level whether you warn a time log user, or you can also email a specific person that's linked to that job, or even the job manager linked to that job. So at the job level you can specify it per job, but in here you can specify it for tasks at an overall level.